In this video, I'm going to show you a program called OctopuSequencer. I'll show you the basic functionality of it, and then I'll give you a couple of cool examples showing you how you can make interesting grooves and figure out complex polyrhythms. For more in-depth videos and to get your own copy of OctopuSequencer, go to joecrabtree.com/software. There's a 16th note click in OctopuSequencer. If I click play, we'll hear that. You can change the tempo of OctopuSequencer using the tempo field. You can use the arrow keys or type it in or scroll up and down with the mouse. You can change the volume of the quarter note and the 16th note, and you can change the sounds of those using the drop down box. OctopuSequencer basically consists of 4 individual step sequences. Each step sequencer has 4 lines available, which corresponds to 4 different sounds. So I'm going to draw in some things on each of these 4 lines in sequencer 1 and play. Now let me just mute the click. So to change the sound of a line, click in the MIDI note selector, use the up and down arrow keys to choose the sound that you want. Oops. And you can use the volume on the left to control the volume of each individual line. The master volume on the left controls the volume of the sequencer in general, and M at the bottom mutes the sequencer. If you're not getting any sound at all, make sure that in the routing section you're routing sequencer 1 to drums. If I deselect here, then we don't hear it anymore. Each step sequencer has a potential 64 steps available. Most of the time you probably won't want to use all of these. You can change the length of the repeat using the length field. So this is set to 8 at the moment. So if I click play, this repeats after 8 steps. If I change the length to 10, it'll repeat after 10 steps. If I change it to 16, it will repeat after 16 steps. So this is where things start to get interesting. In the past, if I wanted to figure out a polyrhythm, I would draw it out on a grid. So if I wanted to work out what 3 against 4 sounded like, for example, I would draw out 3 times 4 steps, which is 12 steps. So I would set the length of the sequencer to 12, and then I would draw in every 4th note on the top, and then on a line underneath I would draw out every 3rd note. So this is playing a beat every 4 16th notes, so you get 3 of those in 12 steps, and this is playing a beat every 3 16th notes, so you can fit 4 of those into 12 steps, and the result sounds like this. Now that can be time consuming. If you wanted to do 7 against 6, then you'd have to draw 42 steps, and you'd have to draw 7 things in the top and 6 in the one underneath, and it gets a bit tedious. So this is where OctopuSequencer comes into its own, because all we need to do is tell sequencer 1 to play a note every 4 16th notes. So set that to 4, and sequencer 2, we just tell that to play a note every 3 16th notes, because it's looping after 3, this is looping after 4. And not only does it play those polyrhythms, it will also calculate the resolve point for you. So in this example, I've set the length of sequences 3 and 4 to 0, so they're not really being counted. And this blue text here basically figures out how many times this has to repeat until it hits 1 at the same time as all the other sequences hit 1. So in this case, you'll see this realizes that it's got 3 repeats before it resolves, and this one realizes that it's got 4 repeats. So you can even see the counting of the polyrhythms: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 3, 1, 2, 3. And over in the click mixer, you have a resolve control. If I turn this up, we'll hear a crash when the polyrhythm resolves. So that's pretty cool. You want to hear any other polyrhythm. There are many ways to do it in OctopuSequencer, by the way, and I will cover those in a different video. But this is one of the easiest ways to do it. So you want to hear what 4 against 5 sounds like. Let's just change the length of this to 5. Hit play. There you can see this is playing 5, this is playing 4. You want to hear 5 against 6. Let's change the top one to 6. And obviously if this is a bit slow for you, then you can push the tempo up a bit. So you can do that with any polyrhythm. You could also put in a regular drum beat into this sequencer. Let's bring the tempo down again. And maybe you want to know what an ostinato in 5 on the ride bell sounds like over the top of this. So we can change this to ride bell, and we can play the 1 and 3 of a 5-note pattern, and it would sound like this. And there you can see that it's 5 repeats of the groove and 8 repeats of the ostinato in 5 until it repeats, and you hear the crash when it resolves. So you can even expand on that, and you can use sequences 3 and 4 to put other things in. If you're Pete Zeldman, maybe you want to put in another ostinato in 7 and play that on the low floor tom with your left hand. Put in 1, 3 and 5, and then we'll see what that sounds like. So this is going to take longer to repeat because you've got the 5 against the 7 against an 8. So I don't even know how long that's going to be. And if you want to hear what just the 5 and the 7 sound like without the groove, you can mute this. So I'm sure you can see how this is a pretty cool tool for working out interesting polyrhythmic grooves.